They did not lose their son in an accident. They did not bury him. They did not even notice the day he disappeared, because he was still eating, still breathing, still sleeping in the next room. But the child they knew was already gone. But that wasn't the worst part.
Daniel and Miriam were not cruel parents. They were busy parents. They worked long hours. They chased stability. They told themselves they were building a future. They mistook provision for presence. Morning became a rush. Night became exhaustion. Tomorrow became a habit. They hired help so their child wouldn't be alone. Nobody expected what happened next.
Her name was Agnes. She arrived quietly. No heavy bags. No loud laughter. She looked harmless. Forgettable. That should have been the first warning. She watched more than she spoke. Learned the house. Learned the parents' schedules. Learned the child's fears. She wasn't there to clean. She was there to replace presents. But that wasn't the worst part. Agnes never raised her voice. She shaped behavior with soft words and long silences. When Ethan cried, she told him his tears were a burden. When he asked questions, she told him questions made adults tired. When he wanted his parents, she told him they were too busy for noise. Slowly, Ethan became quieter. Quieter children are praised. Invisible children are ignored. She punished him without touching him. She used isolation, locked rooms, cold silence. Then she returned smiling. See, I still love you. Love became something Ethan had to earn. Agnes rewrote reality in small ways. When Miriam missed a school event, she always forgets you. When Daniel skipped bedtime, he doesn't enjoy listening to children talk. She never shouted these lies. She planted them gently. Night after night, Ethan suddenly stopped expecting love. Children who expect nothing stop being disappointed. Ethan became obedient, quiet, polite. Teachers praised him. Neighbors admired him. Nobody panics when a child becomes easy to manage. But inside, something was breaking. He started apologizing for being alive. But that wasn't the worst part.
Ethan's obedience didn't mean he was safe. It meant he had learned how to survive quietly. Agnes began changing the rules of the world around him. She took him to places she said were errands. Rooms he didn't recognize. Homes where adults spoke in low voices and asked strange questions. She told him not to talk about what he saw. Grown people won't understand, she said. They'll only get angry at you. But that wasn't the worst part. Agnes exposed Ethan to things no child should ever have to carry in their memory. Conversations meant for adults. Scenes that confused his sense of right and wrong. Images that stayed in his head long after the lights went out. She laughed when he covered his eyes. Told him he was being childish. Slowly, shame replaced innocence. She also taught him dangerous habits. To wander off alone. To keep secrets from his parents. To lie when asked questions. She coached him on what to say if anyone noticed bruises from falling. Or fear he couldn't explain. Nobody expected what happened next. Ethan stopped knowing when something was wrong. That is what harm does to a child. It blurs the line between normal and dangerous. There were moments when Agnes crossed lines that no adult should ever cross with a child. Moments she later dismissed as accidents. Touches she framed as jokes. Boundaries she eroded with smiles and threats of silence. Ethan didn't have language for what was happening. He only knew it felt wrong, and that he was told it was his fault for feeling uncomfortable. What he carried into silence was heavier than fear. It was confusion. She warned him, "If you tell them, you'll break this family. If I leave, they'll send you away. You'll be the reason everything falls apart." And so the child carried adult secrets in a body that was never meant to carry them. Then the storm came. Thunder. Ethan wet the bed. Agnes locked him in the bathroom. Cold. Alone. Daniel came home early. He heard whispers in the dark. What he saw next made his blood run cold. Ethan was thanking her for punishing him. Agnes was dismissed. But removal is not healing. Her voice stayed behind. "You're a burden. Love leaves. But that wasn't the worst part. He believed those voices were his own thoughts. Daniel stopped running, stopped explaining, stopped outsourcing love. Same chair, same hour, every day. When the boy pushed him away, he stayed. When the boy screamed, he stayed. Nobody expected what happened next. Slowly, the boy tested love instead of fleeing from it. Healing did not come as a miracle. It came as routine, therapy, truth spoken gently, presence repeated stubbornly. One night, Ethan asked, "If I disappear, will you look for me?" Daniel held him. "I will never stop looking." Parents, listen carefully. Your children will remember your time. Not your money, not your gifts, not your success. Neglect is never harmless. Absence is not neutral. And if someone else fills the void, who knows what they will teach your children? Ethan and Lily were taught survival, cunning, and control, but at the cost of their parents' love and trust. The greatest threat to a child is not strangers. It is the very people who are supposed to protect them, who are too busy to care. So, ask yourself tonight, if your children only remember your absence, will they grow kind, or will they grow into something you fear? Sometimes, the most dangerous monsters are not outside. They are inside, silently shaping your children while you chase everything else. Stay calm. Ponder on this, and if you have learned from this story, let me know your thoughts in the comments.